All right, welcome back, everyone. This is Ebony again, a.k.a. Fit Mom Diva of Simplicity Health Style. And today we have Miss Octavia with us. How are you, Octavia?
Hi, I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
You are very welcome. Thank you for taking time out of your day to share jewels with us. We are most appreciative. For those of you that choose to stick around to the end, you will have an opportunity to earn a complimentary gift. So make sure that you stick around, listen to what Miss Octavia wants to share with us today. Octavia, start us off just so that we can get to know you a little bit and share with us one motivational quote that really inspires you, something that encourages you and motivates you.
Sure. Well, as you mentioned, my name is Octavia Sims, and I'm originally from South Carolina. I now live in Austin, Texas. I work for a study abroad company called Academic Programs International, and I help students from all across the U.S., sometimes Canada and the U.K., find internships in English teaching positions in a variety of different countries. And I love what I do. I love working with people. And I would say throughout my life, a motivational quote I've had is, all you can say is no, or all they can say is no, which doesn't sound very motivational. But growing up, it was the idea of if you don't ask, you don't know. Or if you don't look for it, you can't find it. So whenever I'm feeling like I'm in a corner, or I'm feeling stuck, or I want to get from point A to point B, I think, oh, well, maybe I can ask this person. Or I really want to go XYZ, but I think they'll say no. But if they say no, okay, fine. Then I evaluate how I'm going to get to where I want to go. Or a lot of times people put themselves in boxes and they don't realize it because they never even thought to ask. So it also goes back to the sky's the limit, or your imagination is your own box that you put yourself in. And I never want to be put in a box, and I don't want anyone I associate with to be put in a box as well.
Yes, and you know what? I probably get told no several times a week. Matter of fact, probably every day. Because of the nature of my work, I'm looking for connections and trying to inspire as many people as I can, because it's something that I love to do. And not everybody's always ready to be inspired in those moments. And that's okay. They can take their time with it. But I think that if you don't move because you're afraid that someone's going to say no, then you'll never get to your yes.
And also goes back to innovation. So when you're thinking of a new idea, like an electric car, I don't know, we can't run on anything but fossil fuels. Well, we wouldn't have electric cars. Or,
right.
I want to go to this country and they're going to dime me because I don't think I can get a visa. Did you look up if you can get a visa? Did you contact I'm going back to travel because I work in travel all the time. Did you contact people at your university or a travel agent to see if they know others like you that have tried to do this? And if they haven't, you can be the first.
Yes. So being open-minded and creative with your endeavors and looking for opportunity that's not naturally like right in your face. Sometimes you can take an alternative route and be able to make things happen. And I think that's so key what you just said there, because it really speaks to you also being able to operate in your gifts effectively. I sometimes will come across people that will say, I've been searching for an opportunity that's just like this. This is what would light me up. And they just can't find it. So I'm like, well, why not create it? There are certain positions that we see posted online these days that didn't even exist 15, 20 years ago.
Yes, and maybe you can chalk it up to me being a very hopeful, bright-eyed, bushy-tailed millennial. But I also realize that everything isn't what it seems, and there are multiple ways to get from point A to point B.
Yes.
So I might think, the things I like travel, I like people, and I found a job that does that. But maybe I would like a job that travels more, or maybe I would like a job that travels less. Or, your life is the ultimate customization at your disposal. And I'm not saying like, oh man, I have this idea, that means therefore I can do it. There's a lot of, hard work and a lot of research that goes behind it. I definitely think that there's not necessarily a start point to anything. So you may be in the middle of it. You might be in the middle of your journey, or like I have half of the things that I'm passionate about, but I'm still searching for the rest, or I don't even know where they are. And some days I know where they are, and some days I don't know where they are.
Yeah. And we all know that it's a process to get from point A to point B and point A to point Z. And we don't always know what to expect. We sometimes will go on our endeavor to meet our goal or meet our dream, and things happen that we weren't expecting, and circumstances arise that we're like, wow, that just came out of left field. I know that happens in my life, and I'm sure it happens in all of our lives at some point in time, right? So can you talk a little bit about a time in your life where maybe you didn't see the light at the end of the tunnel, and you did have to overcome some obstacles and some challenges, but at the end of the day, you were able to bring that goal or that dream to fruition?
Yes, I am young. I am 24, going on 25 soon, or like I can jump to 26. But anyway, I'm more like 24 going on like 80. I've always been old, and I chalk that up to growing up in a household where I had a sick parent. And right around the time I was applying to college, to me, some days it even seemed feasible to even leave home, let alone try to find funding to get to college, the logistics of going, buying books. It felt overwhelming. But I knew that where I came from, Hopkins, South Carolina, if you don't get out there, the opportunities are very limited. I'm not saying that people there don't live very, lucrative or like loving like lives with their families, or they don't find work to do. But for the things that I was interested in, there was no outlet. So I knew that I had to come to a point where I had to either find a light, create a light, or steal somebody else's light to get out, to get to where I wanted to go. And I just kind of felt like I was kind of feeding the dark. Like on one hand, I had a lot of responsibility at home, like making sure I have a younger sister, making sure that she was kind of properly taken care of while my mother worked and while my father was just like day after day becoming more ill, and then also balancing my schoolwork. So I had to be a top student to get into school and to also earn scholarships to find that light at the end of the tunnel. Because honestly, if I didn't have those scholarships, there's no way I would have went to school, because I wouldn't have been.
Say that last part again. You were cutting. You were very muffled. Say that last part again.
Oh, if I didn't find scholarships and funding to go to university, there's no way that I would have been able to afford to get like to where I am today, if I didn't have people that believed in me.
Yes. And I think that also when we express some of the challenges that we go through, we get multiple ideas of how to actually go through that. Because there are times when we're like, oh, this just can't happen, and the economy sucks, and this and this and this, all these different reasons of why something can't happen. But when we start to talk about them to our closest friends or family members or people that we just trust, we begin to see that, no, there are ways to create opportunity. Have you ever heard about this? Or have you ever explored this? I think that happens when we can have the courage to ask people for help. Having said that, can you talk a little bit about help and support? Because sometimes people feel like, I know what direction that I want to take in life. And I've known my dream since I was 7 years old. And I know exactly what I need to be doing in order to achieve my dream. But I also feel like I need some support that I'm not getting right now. And I don't know who to turn to or what direction to turn to. Can you talk a little bit about how people can gain support for their dreams when sometimes they feel like they don't have it?
Yes. I think that's a wonderful thing to touch on, because I know I've been lucky in my life where I've always had an extensive family that if I needed help, I could call an aunt, I could call my mom, I could call a cousin, and we were a really close unit. But everybody doesn't have that, or everybody doesn't have that net-based support system that's there to love on them. So in those cases, I know sometimes people speak about the evils of social media, but if you have nobody that's immediately around you and you can't connect to anybody in person, I think the first step is to really put your feelers out to find communities online that are similar minded to you. And it might not be like the most intuitive thing to do, either where it's through Facebook or like Instagram of, hey, I don't know, activist groups that support the homeless. I don't know how to get involved in this. None of my friends are interested in it. I don't have a family to talk to. How can I go from, not knowing any organizations to knowing a few? So I would say Google. Google is my best friend. If I don't know something, Google is the first place I go. And then I would check a Facebook, I would check an Instagram, or maybe there are local meetups in your city where you can get involved in helping out the homeless, or you can go by the shelter and go see if they need any help. It might not be necessarily a job, or it might turn into one, or it might turn into a nonprofit that you run yourself. But to start out, just to see what is out there, what's near me, and if there's nothing near me, can I create it? And how can I create it?
Yes. And I noticed that for myself, when I first moved to Florida and I was looking for opportunities in either the educational world, like the university world, or health and wellness, I
Yeah.
didn't see as many opportunities as I had come from up north. And I'm like, man, so what am I going to do? Because they don't really have a whole lot here, you know, and it wasn't like they didn't have a whole lot. They didn't have a lot of opportunities open and available when I was looking for it. So I started to think, well, how can I begin to create my own opportunity? And I'm glad that I thought outside the box, or I could very well just have settled and said, well, you know, I'll just work retail. Not that anything's wrong with retail, but I could have said, I'll just work retail because I don't see anything closely related to what I'm interested in, you know? So I think that sometimes those are good moments when you don't see what you're looking for and you can think creatively to create your own life. And sometimes it's a whole lot better than if I had even found that particular opportunity that I thought I wanted, you know?
Yeah. I'm still looking for opportunities. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm still looking for opportunities that I'm interested in the city that I lived in. I've lived here for 2 years now, and there are still so many places, parks that I haven't been to, things I haven't seen. I feel like I should be more involved in the local community, but I don't really know my neighbors very well. Not that I'm not very social in that aspect, but I want to be. And I know that I have the means to do that. And it's just like, okay, need to take the first step, need to go ahead and put myself out there. And I sometimes don't know what I like. I don't know if I should join a running group. I haven't ran in Lord knows how long. I don't know if I should go, you know, find an arts and craft group. I like to crochet. I don't know if I want to go post up in a crochet group. There are a lot of things that you can get involved with that make you happy, or that make you feel fulfilled inside, that can take a while to either stumble into or to find, even after you've been in a place for like a year.
Yes. And I think that if you live in the United States, there's a website that I always tell people about called meetup.com.
I've heard of it.
You can, you know what I'm talking about. So you can go on there and you can find so many different groups and so many topic areas that some of them you never even thought of and begin to meet people of like mind that may also be very supportive of your endeavors. Because sometimes it's not that, you know, our family or friends don't want to necessarily support us. They might not know how to support us in the particular industry or endeavor that we are looking forward to. So being able to find those people in your local community via meetup groups or going online and searching for groups that have that specialized interest, I think that there's always people out there that you can connect with. It's just a matter of stepping outside your comfort zone sometimes and establishing those relationships.
Yes.
Talk a little bit about the relationship between self-care and being able to have the energy and vitality to carry out our dreams, because you had touched real quickly on running. And for some people, they think that, you know, self-care is, I need to go to the gym every day of the week and I need to eat 100% clean, healthy foods. When in all actuality, self-care is sometimes you just spending some time painting a picture, because that brings you fulfillment and joy. So can you talk about your own self-care and then just some ways that women can seek out self-care and why it's even important?
Yeah, self-care is paramount. So I think self-care has this kind of reputation of it has to be physical, and it's not always physical. It can be mental as well. So I know for myself, I was an avid reader. I mean, I used to eat books, and I don't eat as many books as much as I used to. But
not literally eat books, right?
Not literally eat books, y'all, but just like, you know, just absorb stories.
Right.
And I love getting lost into different avenues. Behind me, there are all these maps. I don't know if y'all can see them, but they're not even real places. They're fictional places in books of my favorite books that I've just read over time, over and over again. But besides that, I like to be outside, and I'm not as active as I think I am, I feel. I like to walk around. I like to go on trails. I used to run, but I haven't ran in a long time. But I like finding new parks. So like a day after work, maybe if it's a sunny day like it is today in Austin, it's a beautiful day, it's crisp, it's 60 degrees, I would go find a trail behind my apartment and I would just go roam about. I would go leisurely. I would think about whatever I want to think about. Sometimes I take music. I love music. I feel like if I can find music that's well produced with nice lyrics, that I'm in a stream of consciousness. It's like my oasis type of thing to do. Some people like TV, and it's not a bad thing to like TV. There's great films and movies and TV shows for you to get involved in, and also quality time with others. So self-care not only has to be like, oh, I have to be by myself or I can't be, you know, with anyone else. Like self-care can be bonding with your family. after work, you know, deep, like unplugging from the email, from standing on your feet all day, having a glass of wine, cooking with your family, and just hanging out.
Yeah.
So I think that self-care is you approach it how it best suits you. And for me, I like to be outside, and I like to go to movies, and I like to hang out with my boyfriend, and I like to do all these types of things.
Yeah, and I'm glad that you touched on self-care could also be hanging out with others, because we tend to think about it might be a solo activity. But I know that at times when I hang out with one of my closest friends, that hour or two that I just spent with her, I feel like, man, that was so therapeutic.
Yes.
You know, I got to run my mouth about X, Y, Z, and I didn't have to worry about being judged, and you know, you just get it all out, you know? So I think that being with friends, and then, you know, I noticed that, you know, I might just be sitting down and playing a game with my family, and that's not even something that some people would even think about as being self-care, but it allows me to take a step back from being on, you know, and particularly being on the internet, because for me and the type of work I do, I can spend a whole lot of time on the internet, that when I take a breather away from it, I'm like, oh, wow, this is what life is like, you know?
Yeah. Have you ever, you know, just turned your phone off for a whole weekend, for like a whole weekend, and it's rejuvenizing. Like you're like, wow, this is what life is like.
This is what life is like. Yeah. So I think that whatever we choose to do is something that just brings us a sense of peace that we might not naturally be doing during the week. Something different, stepping outside of what we naturally do.
Yes.
Octavia, thank you so much for spending time talking with us today. And for those of you that are listening, if you need help in the area of self-care and want a bunch of different ideas that might work for you, or maybe work with your friends or family members, I have so many different ideas that I could give to you. As a matter of fact, just got finished writing a blog article on different ways of providing self-care and the reason why it's important, particularly when it comes to enhancing our core life purpose. So a lot of times people don't naturally see the connection, but what I've seen is that when people treat themselves better, they tend to become more focused on what it is that they're on this earth to do. Like, what is their purpose? So you've reached a certain level of success, but is that really your purpose? And are you fulfilled with it? There's a totally different way of looking at success and purpose. So for anybody that is struggling, trying to figure out, well, where is my place in this world? I have a few different assessments that I'll provide to you at no charge, so that you have no excuse to not be able to understand what your strengths are, what your gifts are, what your true personality type is. I'll provide that for you so that you can get on your way to making a better and more fulfilling life for yourself, whatever that looks like for you. And I'll have my Nutrition for Busy Women Facebook group link in the comments, so that, or in the description box, so that you can join me and become more intimate and get to know me and my other community of purpose-driven women. So Octavia, do you have anything else that you want to share with us? Any words of encouragement that you can give to ladies that may be listening all around the world?
I would say, be true to yourself. I know it's cliche, but a lot of times we say, oh, I don't know what I want. And it's more so, I don't know how to articulate what I want, or I don't feel comfortable saying what I want. And also, life is short, and you have the right to your own lived experience.
Yes, that's beautiful. Thank you. And I think that sometimes that's exactly it. Sometimes you might not just know what you want. So getting more clearly defining focus area, I think, is a lot of times a starting point for many people's dreams to actually come true. So thank you for sharing that. I appreciate that. Any of you that are interested in also sharing your experiences, your challenges, your successes, or just words of encouragement that you believe that ladies need to hear, I welcome you to make sure that you connect with me, and we'll see how to get you on one of our future episodes. I'm always looking to collaborate with others. Octavia is open to collaborations as well. So if there's anything that either one of us said where you feel like, wow, I really want to connect with them, please feel free to do so. I'm all about networking and forming positive relationships. So until next time, wherever you are in the world, always remember to live a life full of meaning and purpose. Share this content out to anyone that you believe that can benefit, and I will see you in our next episode. I'll talk to you soon.